Live Fit Podcast, episode 128, with Lane Kennedy, the original female biohacker.
And then when I started taking it internally, I started sleeping, right? My mood, my depression completely lifted. I wasn't anxious anymore. I felt more balanced in everything that I was doing.
Welcome to the Live Fit Podcast with Glenn Johnson, your resource for all things that contribute to good health. You will hear expert advice and interviews with leading authorities on fitness, food, fat loss, mindset, and the mind-body connection. You will find show notes, articles, and health programs at livefitpodcast.com.
Yes, it is time once again for the Live Fit Podcast. I'm your host, Glenn Johnson. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Today's guest is Lane Kennedy. She is known as the original female biohacker. This is because 20 years ago, she was unhappy with the way Western medicine was treating her, and she became her own advocate and researcher. In long-term recovery, when she had unbearable back pain, she didn't want to go to the typical opioid medication as a solution. She took care of her body and mind with yoga and meditation, which helped tremendously, yet she still found that she was in pain from time to time. Until one day, a friend of hers gave her a bottle of CBD oil. She was wary and afraid of it at first, afraid that it would trigger her addictions again, so she thought on it for a few days and then decided to give it a try. Her mind was blown. Her pain was gone, and she could sleep through the night. Lane is a proponent of taking care of your mind and body first before looking to the outside for help. Mindfulness is a part of her daily practice and the basis of how she helps others live as fit and healthy as possible. Lane, it's a pleasure having you on my show.
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, I just want to say thanks for having me on your show and letting me participate in sharing a journey about health. And I am a biohacker. And for many, people, that's like a big turnoff. For many women, I should say, because they associate it as, with somebody else in the industry. And the doors get shut down. Everybody's just like, oh, nope, I don't want to hear about that.
Well, tell me what biohacking actually is then. I mean, you have a different definition of it, it sounds like, than most people think. So what's your definition?
I've been doing this, getting into my body, doing the research, looking at blood work, labs, for about 21 years now.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, a long time, much longer than, what made it popular a couple years back. And it's really about investigating your own, DNA, your own being. Mm-hmm. That's how I look at it. I'm not conventional. I feel like conventional medicine let me down. I was diagnosed with we don't know what's wrong with you, but we know that your body is breaking down. Your skin is turning yellow. Your hair is falling out. You can't move.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was pretty bad 20 years ago. And there was no discussion about gluten-free. There was no discussion about your microbiome, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I took it, upon myself to start reading and discovering all the systems of the body. So that's a little bit about what biohacking means to me. Mm-hmm. And as a woman, there's a huge difference between men and women and how the bodies function, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so a lot of, women go down this very, male-dominated biohacking, and they end up breaking their bodies even more, or becoming more a little heavier, or their HPA axis starts to break down a little bit, and they're then suffering from fatigue. So I kind of back people up a little bit and help them define what biohacking means for them as we investigate their own DNA.
So if I'm understanding you right, basically biohacking is the ability to understand your body, listen to your body, be mindful of your body, maybe use some science to learn a bit about your body, and not relying on Western medicine to tell you what to do.
Pretty much, yeah, that sums it up beautifully.
and though Western medicine may play a role and
Yes.
probably does
Yes.
a lot of the time, we're not relying on that to tell us what to do.
Correct.
And
Correct.
The biohacking that comes to most people's minds, would that be from male athletic type A personalities like Tim Ferriss?
I think that Tim Ferriss and the 4-Hour Body, that kind of whole like grind, and then Bulletproof, the grind,
right?
And drinking butter in your coffee and eating a very specific way, and those very specific ways are great, but there's not one specific way for everybody.
Right. And I think that's what they're trying to do, the same thing as you, yet they want a different outcome. They want to achieve almost superhuman feats, whether it's skills or strengths or whatever. And you, if I understand right, are looking for achieving balance and comfort and efficiency.
And just feeling good in my body.
Right. And a lot of people don't feel good in their body, and that is such a shame.
Mm-hmm.
And if they look at some of the things they're doing, their lifestyle, their eating, their activity or lack thereof, that often is the culprit, but not always.
But exactly, not always. But it has such a big part to do with it, right?
Oh, yeah. What else are you into?
What else am I into? Well, I really love mindfulness. When, it's been 21 years since I stopped drinking. And so part of my practice, I had to substitute something for all that time.
Right.
And so I got really into mindfulness, meditation, Buddhism for a while. But I've created a process of getting into presence, is what I now call it, of being in the moment and listening, really deep listening, because when I'm in that state, or when I help a client get into that state, the answers reveal themselves. And I believe, we have so much information that's given to us, right? And billions of information are being brought to us every single second, but we only see a teeny tiny fraction of that, right? But when I'm in that mindfulness presence place, I can see so much more and gain so much more clarity. So that's a really big, important part of wellness that I think a lot of men and women are missing out on, because as I look around, I see a lot of sick people, and I just think, can you just stop for 5 minutes? Just start with 1 minute of cultivating a practice and building some discipline around that practice and finding out what your body needs. Because the body always answers, but we are not paying attention.
And sometimes people hear the body, so they're paying attention, but they don't know how to interpret what they're hearing because the body doesn't speak English. Our mouth does, our brain does.
Right. So I have a really great example going on where I was in this I call it the dental chair accident. And this happened it's been about 3 years now. And I'm not a fan of dentistry. We have to do it, right? We have to go in every 6 months, get our teeth checked. And I've been pretty good about doing that. And I went in and they said, "Oh, Lane, we have to take out this, the silver, right? The mercury." And I was like, "Ugh, okay, great." And so I was already tense, but then they put me in this chair. They turned me upside down, way back, my head's back. And I was so stressed out that I herniated 2 discs.
Whoa.
Yeah, 2 discs, and then pulled another one. So I had 3 in my neck out, C4, C5. and then down into L.
That all goes to the strength of your muscles.
Oh, just horrific. After that, I'm in pain. I'm not sleeping. I end up in physical therapy for 9 months.
Wow.
9 months. And at the end of the 9 months, I still can't really rotate my neck. I still have the pain. And my physical therapist says, this is it, Lane. I can't do anything else for you.
Who would have thought visiting your dentist was so dangerous?
I know. And here, Glenn, this is where it gets into this of like conventional medicine, right? Like I'm showing up.
Yeah.
I went to the back doctor. She said, we can put some pins in your neck. We can start shooting you up with some cortisol. We can put you on pain medication. And I just couldn't do it. I didn't want to start going down that path of Vicodin. I didn't want to start going down that path of opioids. I didn't want to go down that path of having somebody cut into my neck.
Yeah, good for you.
So I listened. I was like, nope, not doing it. And so this has been going on, right, for a while. And fast forward a little bit here. After you don't sleep for a while because you're in pain, there's depression that hits, and it becomes like a cycle. And so I was uncomfortable. So I was propping my pillows up, trying to sleep, right?
Yeah.
Trying to be in my life. And, mind you, I have clients. I'm a health and wellness coach. I'm supposed to be happy-go-lucky, do it. And, I'm depressed. I don't want to get out of bed. And the pain is agony.
Oh, boy.
And so, lucky for me, I have a bunch of wellness, I call my wellness warriors around me. And I had this girlfriend of mine, Nicole, she came over and she popped this little bottle of hemp oil in front of me. And I was like, what's that? And she goes, it's hemp. And I said, I have no idea what that is. Is that marijuana? And she said, no, it's hemp. I said, well,
You're not explaining it.
Yeah, no, that doesn't tell me anything. She goes, you know what? You just get on Google and start doing some research. And I was like, no, Nicole, I'm sober, right? A long time. I'm not going to do something that's going to get me high.
Right.
And she said, no. It's you're going to be fine. I said, no, I'm not doing it. She goes, okay, I'm just going to leave it for you because it might help with that pain that you have, Lane. And I was like, nope, not doing it. I was ignoring the little voice inside me, right? We're talking about that mindfulness. We're talking about listening.
Right.
And I let it sit in my bathroom for 2 days. Mm-hmm. And then on that third day, I woke up and I was like, I think I'm just going to put it on the outside of my body. I put my finger in it, put it on the exact spot where I called the ice pick. The ice pick pain. Yeah, that's what I called my pain, the ice pick pain. And I put it on there and the ice pick melted.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Pretty miraculous. My body spoke to me, right? We're talking about how the body speaks and how to listen. And I called up Nicole and I said, what is this stuff? I know, I'm just fascinated. I'm tell me more. She's like, get online right now, Google CBD, hemp oil. And that started my journey in research because I'm a biohacker. I have to get in there and find out everything about it. And I did that. I found out about this amazing endocannabinoid system that actually balances up and sends signals to all of our systems. Mm-hmm. I found out about who discovered the endocannabinoid system. I found out about the receptors in our body. And I said, well, what if I take it internally? And she's like, hello, that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. And I was like, okay. So I started taking it internally. And Glenn, this is where the magic started to happen.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. This is where
you got high.
No, I didn't get high. I didn't.
I'm joking. I'm very familiar with CBD, and I just want to interject really quick that you fell into kind of that trap of the stigma that people have built up over the generations, that marijuana and hemp are A, the same thing, and B, bad and evil, and all those other words that people might put to it.
Yeah.
And yet it only took you 2 days before you actually tried it. So congratulations.
Oh, well, I think I was in so much, 9 months, I was into this pain for over a year, right?
Yeah.
And not having any relief. So when I had that awakening and finally listened to that inner mindfulness, that inner presence, that state of presence of just try it. Mm-hmm. And then when I started taking it internally, I started sleeping, right? My mood, my depression completely lifted. I wasn't anxious anymore. I felt more balanced in like everything that I was doing. And I called up I have a functional medicine doctor. She's highly regarded here in the Bay Area. And I said, Anne, what do you think about this CBD? And she's like, that's great, Lane. Yes, you should be on that. I'm like,
why didn't you say that before?
Yeah, it was one of those moments of like, doctors again, right? I think our doctors, they have so little time with us. There's so much information out there. So I'm such a huge fan of, being our own investigators, right? I think that's a lot about what biohacking is about, is, doing the research yourself, finding out, having a guide to kind of walk you along the path, check in with, right? Because that's what I have around me, and investigating what's going to work.
Right.
So I listened to that pain that was in my neck. I was like, I can't do it anymore. And then when I found that plant, hemp, this plant ally, I was like, and I got such great relief.
And Lane, I've had a couple of people on this podcast talking about that sort of thing. Back in episode 55, I had a person talking about CBD, so full-on CBD, and that's all he sells. And then back in episode 123, I had a woman who is a marijuana doctor, and she prescribes marijuana, and it could be all CBD or some CBD or no CBD, but depending on the person's ailment. I myself have had chronic back pain for a while, and I've tried CBD also, and it didn't work. It did not work topically probably because my issue was so deep, it's down on my spine. Yet when I took it internally, it did help. Yet, and this is what I'm getting at, it's really hard to find and rather expensive, because marijuana and hemp, even though it might not have any THC in it, has not been allowed to be grown in the United States. So it has to come from China, Canada, or France, and there's only so much to go around.
This is how I look at it, Glenn. Like, I think about the pharmaceuticals, and being on, something every month, and I'm paying a copay, and I'm paying.
Oh, it's horrible.
For the quality of life. So I'd much rather pay $150 or something for something that's going to help me restore my body, to help me sleep again, bring my brain back online. But there's all different brands out there. There's all different types.
And it's hard to know if one is potent, if it has what it says it has.
Right. And that's why I feel very, very fortunate to be, to have this company that I am with. I love it so, so much.
Yeah, I saw that on your website. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's being a biohacker. See, this is the good news. Is like I have the history of being a biohacker. So I was very familiar with Dr. Chris Shade, who dealt with mercury detoxification. And, when I started looking into this hemp oil, and when I had this profound experience around it, it was revealed that he was the chemist. And I was just completely sold on that. I trust his body of work. I've met him. I've talked to him. He's been given so many awards for his work with the autism community. Just a fantastic human being. He's about healing the planet. And so when I was introduced to this company, I was like, oh, it has Dr. Chris Shade behind it. That's like a no-brainer.
Lane Kennedy, I have a question. Where is this company based? Are they in Colorado, one of those states that somewhat recently legalized marijuana?
Yes, they are. They're in Colorado and Texas.
Oh.
Get over that right there, right?
I don't think I can.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're based in, not we, but the company is based in Texas, and we manufacture out of Colorado. You brought up an interesting point about hemp, growing and the manufacturing process. And I would just want to hit on that for a minute, because Chris Shade, the chemist, is, so into what he gets into the body and what he takes out of the body. The product that we have created, that Prime My Body has created, is all about testing. Mm-hmm. And so they, of course, every company, tests their product, but we test for mold, we test for different toxins. And one of the things you talked about, I just go back to this China, growing hemp in China. Mm-hmm. I'm not quite sure that I would want a product grown in China, mm-hmm. Because of the soil. Mm-hmm. But the soil that all of our plants come from, and we've had plants come from all different regions of the world, and a lot of our plants right now are coming from here in the States. We make sure that the plants are grown in organic soil with no pesticides. Hemp cannot be a certified organic plant, but the dirt that it's grown in can be. And hemp is a remedial plant. That means it's going to, bring up anything that's in that dirt or that soil. So that's part of the testing that we do, or that Prime My Body does. And it just, again, I think about the different oils that are out there and how important it is to know exactly what's in the bottle, because what's in the bottle is going to go into your body. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of products out there. I get a lot of questions all the time about what's the difference between CBC, this one and this one? And really it's about the delivery system. And a lot of the oils are based in, let's just say, extra virgin olive oil or MCT oil. Mm-hmm. And when they're in those kind of carriers, that means they're going to go through the digestive process. And when it goes through that digestive process, the body's not taking in all of it. So one of the great things about Prime My Body and this product is that we have a liposome that passes through the cell membrane and dumps the phytocannabinoid into the cell, right? So it has this really rapid uptake, mm-hmm. dropping that nutraceutical, almost that really important ingredient into the body so it can make change happen quickly.
It's fascinating. And I have been a proponent of hemp and CBD just because I've always been more of a person who's been into natural remedies rather mm-hmm. than getting mm-hmm. on that whole drug train. And I've talked to people about it before, and you said you would rather pay $150 for something that is natural and helps you with little to no side effects. And yet when that person who, is on a limited income, they would rather pay the $10, $15, $20 for a copay for a month or two's worth of, pills than the $150 for the CBD.
I know. It's a really, I think it comes down to the quality of life, right? And long-term benefits. I know from my own experience and being in long-term recovery, a bottle of pills, there's no happy ending to that. when you're dealing with opioids and pain, and because addiction comes into play.
Right. I had a surgery a few years ago. I had a broken bone, and they sent me home with a bottle of 90, I don't know, some sort of opiate painkiller. 90.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy.
And I didn't. I would have said this to the doctor had I seen what he wrote the prescription for. I would have said, "Are you trying to turn me into an addict?"
Yeah.
And so I took 4 or 5 of them and chucked the rest.
Good for you. I mean, a lot of people, again, a lot of people are not tuned in, right? They just say, "Oh, the doctor," and I hear this all the time, Glenn. I hear this all the time. My doctor gave it to me, so it must be okay.
Be your own advocate.
Yes. You have to be your own advocate.
Use your mind. Listen to your body. If you're not used to that, meditation is a really great way to get you into that sort of, I'll say, mind frame.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
You meditate, I presume?
Oh, every day.
Yeah, same here.
If I don't, the world is not fun.
I agree. It's amazing. And even if I don't have very much time, 3 minutes just sitting in silence saying a mantra for my word of the day is enough to set me straight, balance me, and kind of set an intention for the day.
I think setting intentions and, getting into an alignment is so important.
Yes.
For just being in the world, for your health, right? Interacting with others.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Lane Kennedy, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. How can our audience find you?
Sure. I've totally enjoyed our conversation, Glenn. Thank you so much for having me on the show. People can find me. I have a little guide and a little mini course over at upgradedwoman.com/live fit.
Fantastic. And I, of course, will have that link and some more information about you on my show notes page at livefitpodcast.com. Just look for Lane Kennedy.
So good. Thank you.
All right, Lane, you have a wonderful day, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Live Fit Podcast. Please subscribe and share with someone you care about. Read show notes, articles, resources, and learn more about our weight management programs at livefitpodcast.com. Once again, thanks for listening, and always remember to live fit.